Hello. So, it is time for week 3, and if you saw by the title, week 4 of UBL Season 8. Now, why are we doing both at once? Is it because I'm trying to rush through these? Partially, but also because we can't really talk about all of week 3 because I forgot to save one of the replays. And, yeah, so as a result, it's going to be a bit of a scuffed one, so I figured at least we'd have a full one in there. So, yeah, so for week 3, I didn't save one of the replays, and as a result, it's only going off recollection on what happened, which I remember most of what happened, even though it was a while ago, the main things that happened, so, yeah. But we're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over week 4. So week 3, we're up against Eris. Eris has Meowscarada, Skeledirge, Grafii, Slacking, Colossal Electrode, Riolu, Palafin, Flamigo, Espathra, and Persian. So they've got Fake Out, they've got a bunch of utility with Grafii. Grafii Slacking is a thing, because you can take the Truant away from Slacking. But they've also got, like, a really powerful Firewall Grass Core, which can do a lot of damage. They've also got Aquajet with Palafin into Colossal, and then bring in Flamigo and get all the boosts. Or not Aquajet, Flip Turn, or Aquajet, either one. So they've got a lot of like different options, and then just things like Meowscarada and Skeledirge can do just a lot of damage. So I figured this one wouldn't be too bad, thankfully, because I've got actually some really nice options for this matchup. So, first up, I guess we're starting with Noivern. Noivern, we speed tie with Meowscarada, and I figured that'll be fine. We can get Tailwind up pretty easily, with the support we have. And just sitting this thing next to Goldengo can do tons of work. Alongside that, we've got, with the Terra Normal Boom Burst, we've got Dragon Pulse and Focus Blast. Dragon Pulse just for reliable damage into a ton of things, and Focus Blast because it's that or Hurricane, and I think Focus Blast is nice for the Slacking and the Colossal as well. So, as well as the Persian, there's a bunch of things that Focus Blast is better for than Hurricane, and either way, Meowscarada is going to die to those. Speaking of the Goldengo, let's go back to that. We've got Expert Belt Goldengo with Nasty Plot. We're nice and bulky, nice, got enough speed to outspeed the Skeledirge. And then Nasty Plot, Make It Rain with Shadow Ball and Protect. Really solid here. Just getting a ton of damage off. We've got the Terra Water to, like, just take on hits, like, from the Skeledirge if it wants to go for Torch Song. Bunch the fire moves from Colossal, like any dark type moves that want to come Goldengo's way. It's a pretty solid option. There's also, yeah, Meowscarada as well. That's those pesky dark type moves. So yeah, we've got a really good offensive setup. Alongside that, we're also bringing Hawlucha for the first time. Hawlucha offensively does really well. Like, sure, it doesn't outspeed Meowscarada, but like Skeledirge takes a ton from Brave Bird. Grafii, like, dies. Slacking, like, dies from Banded Brave Bird. Same with Colossal. Like, so many things just get nuked. Like, this is basically just a nuke button with Close Combat Brave Bird. Rock Slide just because I can, and U-Turn if it doesn't seem favorable. I'm probably... This will either be a lead. It could be a lead. It could be to clean up in the late game. Kind of depends how I feel about it. But I definitely can see it coming. Just because it has such a good offensive matchup here, so... and plus, like, Limber means it can just not be paralyzed, which is really nice. Like, it could have had a different ability, but, like, there's no reason to. Like, Limber's probably the only one that's actually useful here. Mental Pachirisu, just nice and supportive. Follow me, Encore, Fake Tears, and Super Fang, because it's probably going to be, like, most of our offense other than Hawlucha. I think that's one of the reasons why we actually brought Hawlucha, is to actually have a physical offense, because most of our offense comes from the special side this week. But Fake Tears is really nice to help drop the special defense of a lot of Pokemon, just to make sure we get the KOs. Because some mons are kind of bulky. Palafin is surprisingly bulky once it gets to the hero form. Slacking is really bulky. Skeledirge is actually bulky as well. And Fake Tears isn't affected by Unaware, from what I understand. So, yeah. And then Super Fang just for the cleanup. Terror Dark to not be affected by Prankster stuff, if needs be. But the other reason we're bringing it is to try and do discharge stuff with Frozen Wash. Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Discharge, and Protect. Going with a bulky variant to help take hits from, not from Meowscarada, but like Skeledirge. I can take hits better from things of that sort. So, again, like special and Terra Water to, I think, help pick up the KO on the Skeledirge with a Hydro Pump. So, yeah. Nice and bulky Rotom that we can pair with Pachirisu. We've got a lot of good lead options, especially rounding out with Weavile. Sash Weavile, we're faster than... we're 1 point faster than our Noivern, who is still... which means we're faster than Meowscarada. So we've got a nice fast Fake Out, we've got the dual stab of Ice Spit and Nice Slash, and then we're rounding it out, kind of like with Pachirisu with Fake Tears. A lot of good offensive special attackers we can pair with this. At any point in the game, we can just go like Weavile, Noivern, set up Tailwind, and then bring in Goldengo and have Rotom, and if Noivern dies, then Weavile can start Fake Tearsing, but if they take out Weavile, then we can bring in Goldengo, we've got Rotom, and then we've got, like, if we need the physical offense, we've got Holucha, we've got Pachirisu for some support. There's so many good things here, and I had Choice Paralysis, there were so many things I wanted to bring here, like Typhlosion could have come here, like a Scarf Typhlosion could have done really well. There's so many things that I wanted to bring here. Sylveon, so many things, but we couldn't. So we've got the one replay, and you can see their team here, most of what I expected. So we're just going to let this play out. Weavile, Noivern is the lead, and they bring in Slacking. And they go for, they see the Mirror Herb here, as they protect. As I try and fake it out, I'm like, alright, cool, I'll just try and get my Tailwind off. They go for a Swagger into my Noivern, which activates their Mirror Herb. So I just try and switch out. They go for a Terra Flying as they Acrobatics into my Weavile. I didn't realize that this actually used to up the item for Mirror Herb. So I just try and take it out, and I try and go for a Nasty Plot on the Goldengo here as they Poison Jab my Weavile. I'm like, cool, I've still got Tailwind for a turn, so I should be fine, still be faster. Go for a Terra Normal Boom Burst, but the Grafai lives, and I'm like, oh. And they knock off my Goldengo, and I'm like, oh dear. And now I don't have Tailwind. And they've got Meowscarada in the bag. So I've just got to try and do what I can, but, yeah. This one was a very much I got caught off guard kind of game. As the Flower Trick is going to take me out here. So, we lose game 1, and we actually end up losing the set. I lose game 2. I kind of I play around it a bit better in game 2. But there comes a crucial point in which I target down, I believe it's the Skeledirge instead of the Meowscarada, as I Terra Water my Goldengo, and as a result I cannot win the end game, as Meowscarada is able to take out my Goldengo, because I Terra Watered it to kind of cover for Torch Song, but I didn't think about the fact that Meowscarada was still on the field, and as a result I lost. I was able to deal with the Grafai stuff a lot easier, but just because I was more prepared for it that time. I think I ended up like trying to fake out the Slacking or something along those lines, maybe try and stop it that way, or maybe just go for the Grafai. I don't quite remember, but yeah, it ended up being our first loss of the season, so unfortunate, but you know, I felt like, at least in game 1 it was a caught off guard, in game 2 I just could have played better. It is what it is. I was definitely upset about it, because, like, I could have definitely played that better. But we're moving on to an actual full week here, and we're going to take out those, and we're going to bring up our next match. And we're up against the one, the only, Fat Rat. So, Rat someone took over his mind. He drafted full Trick Room. He's got Ursaluna, Slowking, Orthworm, Salazzle, Mismagius, Abominable, Spidops, Dragonite, Raichu, and Toadscool. So, he's got, like, the main thing here is Ursaluna. Ursaluna hits like a truck. Dragonite also hits like a truck as well. And there are a couple fast Pokemon to help support it, things like Salazzle and Raichu. But the notable things here as well are the fact that Raichu next to Slowking is actually kind of hard for me to break at times, to at least get the KO on to try and stop Trick Room from going up. And if Ursaluna gets into Trick Room, it's gonna be a rough one. So, Abominable can also do a ton of damage in Trick Room. Like, they can go fast because Dragonite gets Tailwind, but, like, I have way better fast stuff than they do. So, like I've got Noivern, I've got Weavile to take out the Dragonite, because either they run Inner Focus and they get faked out, or they run... they either run Multiscale and get faked out, or they run Inner Focus and die to Ice Spinner. So, like, it's one or the other. So, yeah, like, I've got to be ready for Trick Room. Because Ursaluna can just ruin my day. Like, I have a couple things that can be slower than it, but for the most part, Ursaluna, if it gets into Trick Room, gonna be a problem. But we're gonna try and be ready for it. We've got Hisuian Avalugg. Now, I don't know why I'm not min speed, but here we are. But we're bringing the Avalugg out, the table, the rocky table. Ice Spinner, Rock Slide, Terra Blast, Terra Flying, and Body Press. So, Terra Flying is really nice for Avalugg because a lot of the things that wanted it super effectively are actually, like, flying resists. Things like Rock and Ground, two big ones. So, we've got that. Terra Flying's also just really nice to try and take out, like, I think it's mostly defensive typing, but it's also nice for the Abominable as well. If I need that single target damage. We've got max HP and max defense, just so we get our survivability the best way we can, because, like, we don't need, like, it's got such a low special defense that investing in it and giving it an Assault Vest is probably the best way we're going to get survivability out of it. But we're also able to go Anima Max Attack, and Ice Spinner does a lot of damage. So, like, if we want to play into Trick Room, and, like, if they've found a way to make it so the Trick Room is, like, a problem for us, then we can try and play with Avalugg in Trick Room. So, next up, kind of a slow Goldengo. I think this is mostly to hit here to live the, not live, to outspeed the boy, Ursaluna. Ursaluna's the main thing here. But we've got the Nasty Plot set again, but this time we're Life Orb offensive to try and take out this Slowking. Obviously we're immune to Fake Outs, so, you know, that's a thing. But we need to try and take out this Slowking. That's the main thing that I want to try and have happen here. We've got the bit of special defense. I'm not sure what that was for. Like, I think it might be for living Salazzle, to be honest. If it like, very realistic that it lives Salazzle. So, I could see that. But yeah, otherwise we're kind of slow, to be honest. But, like, we don't need a lot of speed here. Unless we're trying to outspeed Dragonite, which I'm not really trying to. Because I'm more concerned about the Ursaluna. Like, Ursaluna's the big thing here. Speaking of which, though, we've actually got a pretty nice answer to it. And that is our Rotom Wash. So we've got, you know, we've got a decent amount of physical defense, but we also dumped most of it into special attack. From what I remember, I was calcing against Double Edge, like, from Ursaluna, but I wasn't calcing for Facade, so the calcs don't matter too much. But the main thing here is actually Terra Ghost is really nice against Ursaluna. Ursaluna is kind of standard moveset if it's running Protect. consists of a normal, fighting, and ground move. At the time I was considering Double Edge, but it's Facade for obvious reasons, like Gust's Facade is insane. But then like Headlong Rush, and then Close Combat. And if you Terror Ghost, Rote and Wash, it can't be hit by any of those. So it's pretty good. If they, like, they could run a Dark move for maybe Goldengo, but why would they? They've got a Headlong Rush. So, like, they could run a Dark move, they could run a Rock move, but that's really about it. So, the other thing as well, it's really nice, we've got the Thunderbolt and the Hydroblast, we're also actually running Terror Blast as well as Protect. If they want to try and do Raichu plus, Raichu plus Slowking, then we can actually Terra Ghost, be immune to the Fake Out, and go for Terra Blast into the Slowking, which is really, really nice. So we can kind of stop them from setting up Trick Room that way by just doing double Ghost instead of going for just the one, and then like just for, we can't Thunderbolt next to while Raichu's on the field, so that's kind of an option for us. Next up, a bit of a Sped Creep Sylveon just to see if we can Speed Creep Ursaluna, Hyper Voice, Terra Blast, Psychic, and Sylveon with Sylveon and Quick Attack, because we're going specs. We're just trying to do as much damage as we can because there's a lot of things that kind of want to take damage. They don't, as far as I know, they don't actually have Wide Guard. So just trying to do as much damage as possible is really nice. And a lot of things, unless they're running Speed Investment, actually don't really outspeed Sylveon. And other than things like Salazzle, nothing really outspeeds and tries and kills it. So we can actually get a lot of damage done with Sylveon. And Psychic is there just in case I need to hit Salazzle. So, but otherwise, if we're going to be doing anything with Sylveon, we're going to be clicking a Hyper Voice and trying to win the game that way. Next up, Sash Weavile, what do you know? We've got Taunt on here, kind of to vary up the move slot, just to see if Taunting will work. There's probably a Mental Herb on the Slowking, but, you know, there also could be a Covert Cloak. There could be a lot of things, so, but also just having the faster Fake Out than Raichu, I think, and Salazzle at that. Like, I've got the fastest Fake Outer, so, like, having just this sort of pressure is really nice, and also, like, it's pretty good offensively as well. Like, the Ice is nice against the Ursaluna and the Dragonite, and the Toedscool if they want to try and go for Toedscool route and try and Rage Powder. But also Dark is good against the Slowking and the Mismagius, so it's pretty decent offensively. And can try and do a bit of damage before, after using its utility. Last but not least, Covert Cloak, Terra Ghost, Physical Defensive, Weird Ear, Imprison Trick Room, try and stop the Trick Room. I mean, it's the best way to try and stop Trick Room, and then Physical Defensive to try and stop, what's it called, from doing so much damage, Ursaluna. Because we've got the Intimidate as well, so we can cycle Intimidates, and try and stop that thing from being a menace. So, now normally I would watch these games, but I forgot to watch these games prior, so we're going to see what happens. For me at this point, this was played about 6 weeks ago, so we're going to see what happens. I at least remember roughly what happens game 1, so we'll see. So, let's see. So they're going to lead Grimmsnarl and Dragonite, and I'm going to lead Weird Ear and Sylveon. Yeah, I want to stop that Trick Room. You see, they don't bring Raichu, they bring Salazzle as their Fake Outer. I guess Grimmsnarl as well as Fake Outer, but yeah. They hope to bring Mismagius as well, which is kind of interesting. But they've still got the scary Ursaluna. So, but they don't lead the Slowking, so it's like, okay, so maybe it just like screens plus D-Knight here. But like Sylveon's in such a good position. So, we get the Intimidate off there. We see this inner focus on the Dragonite. They go for Fake Out into Sylveon. Makes a ton of sense. They go for Fake Out, and they go for Tailwind, but I set up Trick Room here, because I'm like, well, in this position, I'd rather be in Trick Room. And I was surprised when they set up Tailwind with Dragonite. I was like, oh, so they want to go fast. So, like, despite me wanting to go like, stop Trick Room, like, in this position, it's actually beneficial for me to set up Trick Room. And if they bring in Ursaluna late, then, you know, maybe I can set up the, I can reverse the Trick Room, no problem. But it's like, in this position, I think I'd just rather, you know, set up the Trick Room. So, they go for a Sucker Punch into Weird Ear, it does, like, nothing, because I'm physically defensive, and I'm able to go for my Specs Hyper Voice and get a double knockout here. Weird Ear go for a Psychic. Obviously not going to do anything. And they bring in their last two Pokemon in Salazzle and Ursaluna. Now, they're still in Tailwind for 2 turns, so I'm still going to be slower and able to kind of stop the damage output here. So, the only thing is I'm kind of expecting a Fake Out from the Salazzle, so I kind of want to at least keep Weird Ear for the Intimidate cycles. But also, like, I could try and take out the Salazzle too. If they Fake Out Sylveon, I could maybe try and take out the Salazzle. So there's, like, a couple different things going on here. They go for a Protect with the Ursaluna, they Fake Out the Weird Ear to try and live. I'm just going to go for the Hyper Voice because, like, I can. Like, oh, I forgot I had... even I forgot I had Covert Cloak. But yeah, because of the Covert Cloak, I knew I was safe to just try and take out this, this Salazzle. Yeah, so... be able to take out the Salazzle, thanks to the Covert Cloak. And this was one where, somehow, despite them wanting to go for Trick Room, I just ended up on the right side of things as they wanted to go fast, and I was like, well, I guess I'll go slow, and Sylveon and Weird Ear end up just kind of doing their thing. They go for a Terra Ground to try and take it, what we have, but because of the Tailwind, they're still faster. And as a result, because we've got Trick Room still up, we're still faster, and Spec Sylveon just ran a train here. So, kind of reverse roles. I expected to be going fast, and they kind of went slow, but they kind of went for a Tailwind strategy to maybe try and catch me off guard. But, yeah, I guess it just didn't really work, so... Game 2, I don't think I switch it up, like, why would I? But this time to lead Salazzle, Slowking, and I'm going to lead Weird Ear and Rotom. Oh, I do switch it up, I guess. What did I lead? Did I Dragonite? I don't know why I switched up. I think it's probably because I expected the Slowking, to be honest. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and catch the Slowking and, you know, try and deal with it that way. So, yeah, I don't know why I switched it up. But, like, I guess if I'm expecting Slowking over the... and, like, expecting him to go hard Trick Room this time, then it makes sense. So, yeah. So, they've got the Oblivious here. And they go for a Terra Grass as I protect, because I figured Terra Grass might be coming. So I go for the Imprison, because I know I'm safe, and they just yawn my Weird Ear. And I'm like, well, I kind of have to get out. As far as I know, you can't click Trick Room while an Imprison is off. So I know it was at least fine to switch out there into Goldengo, who... they could have gone for a fire move, but I was like, I know they're probably trying to go for this Rotom and take it out, as I go for a Thunderbolt into the Slowking and try and make it so it can't Trick Room anymore, as we get Goldengo in here. I think, like, my last one is Sylveon, and I'm like, well, I kind of don't have a lot for this, to switch into this Salazzle, so, they just yawn the Rotom. Yeah, so we bring in Sylveon, as we go for a Terra Flying to try and take this Flamethrower a bit better. And we'll go for that Make It Rain. The thingy lives on the sash, which makes sense. And they bring out the Ursaluna. So, I'm going to bring in the Weird Ear to drop that thing's offensive presence. And we actually are able to go for the Quick Attack and take it out. Because I don't want that thing dealing damage. So, pivot back into into Goldengo. We do live the Spirit Break just barely. But because we Terrored, we unfortunately die. So, bring back Rotom, able to go for a Protect to try and stall things out, and try and get the chip needed, because I think Hydro Pump is a 2-hit KO on Ursaluna, so I needed to get the damage on there, but it ends up just kind of being a waste of turns. We both hit into each other's Protects. So, I go back into Sylveon to try and not sack, I try and cycle Intimidates, but I just wasn't expecting to die there. I think It's because the Grimmsnarl is faster, right? Because, like, I'm not running any speed on my Rotom, but their Grimmsnarl is faster than my Rotom, so I was, like, expecting to get the Hydro Pump off before, they go for the, before they hit with the Ursaluna, so I end up just dying here. And that just leaves me with Weird Ear. And because I've only got Psychic as my offensive move, I can't win this. So I try and deal a little bit of damage here to the Ursaluna, but it's not going to be enough, and I'm losing game 2, and it's like, ugh, not great. So it was a pretty rough one. They were also faster than my Sylveon, so they're actually running a bit of a speedy bear. And looking back on it, like with Tailwind, they're trying to go fast. So they never once got the opportunity to try and click Trick Room. So we're going to go into game 3, and I have no idea what I lead at this point. They're going to lead Salazzle and Grimmsnarl, and I'm going to lead Weird Ear and Rotom again. Okay. Kinda makes sense. Kinda doesn't. Not sure how I feel about this, but here we are. I have no idea what happens at this point. They're switching to Slowking as they fake out the Rotom because they know they can't hit Weird Ear, and I just set up Trick Room, right? That makes a lot of sense. Because I just want to get Trick Room up, because I'm like, well, I'm better in Trick Room. I feel like, especially against these two. It's like, give me Trick Room. Plus they can't go for Sucker Punch into Weird Ear while I'm Trick Rooming, so... Getting to Sylveon as they yawn the Sylveon. And I get a ton of damage into Slowking as they go for just a cheeky Spirit Break into Rotom. And I bring out the boy. That's it. The boy is here. We've got the Avalugg, and I think I go for the stay in and try and get Sylveon dealing as much damage as possible. Sylveon takes a nap, and they bring in the Ursaluna. I'm still trying to keep my Avalugg nice and healthy, and, you know, not asleep, so... They're just going for the Terror Blasts into Weird Ear as I'm just cycling these Intimidates, which is super, super nice. Protect the Weird Ear on the last turn of Trick Room, just because, like, there wasn't really a lot a Psychic was going to do. So, unfortunately, Sylveon was taking a bit too long of a nap there, but we're able to live the Facade and get up the Trick Room once more. So, able to bring in the Rotom, and we go for our Terror Ghost here. As they go for the Facade into the Rotom, and it doesn't do anything, and we're able to get a critical hit Hydro Pump into the Ursaluna. I don't know if the crit mattered. If it did, I do apologize, Rat. I think they were quite a fast Ursaluna, so I'm not sure if the crit mattered, because that was Expert Belt. So, yeah. But it just means that the thing is gonna turn early. It's still got to attack, so, and we do get to bring out Avalugg here. I suppose there's also an extra Trick Room turn down, so they go for a Fake Out there. I go for a Thunderbolt, knowing that I'll still be slower than the, slower/faster than the, what's it called? Than the Salazzle. Oh, there we go. Hydro Pump was guaranteed KO against max HP Ursaluna, so... Yay, thank you for clarifying my past self. We're able to get the Body Press off into the Terra Steeled Grimmsnarl there, which is really, really nice. Bringing it out to a 1v1. So... Yeah, we actually get the win against Rat, who, despite bringing a team... drafting a Trick Room team, still somehow lost to Trick Room. Rat, I love you, but how? We talked about it afterwards, and they were like, yeah, well, I'm going to try and catch them off guard, because they're going to expect me to go slow, so I'm going to try and go faster, and then I ended up just being like, well, I have Trick Room on my Weird Ear. I may as well just go for Trick Room myself. So... we both just kind of, like, laughed about it afterwards, but yeah, it was actually a really good set. Shame I didn't get to commentate this one live, but, oh well. I know for a few of these ones that I'm doing post-commentary for, I just didn't have the time to do live com, or just, like, was preoccupied with all the things, so... but that is going to do it for this one. Thank you very much for watching this kind of double-header, and, I'll see you guys for the next match. Take it easy, everyone. Peace.